Hello friends, today we are going to see how we can use chess softwares or chess site to do puzzles and try to improve our game doing that. So we are going to take a famous website here from where we will try to do some puzzles in a stipulated time, and in that much time we will see how many puzzles can be done. So here we have this setup here. We select the option of puzzle rush here and we see that there are three options: 3 minutes, 5 minutes and survival mode. We will use the 5 minutes section here. In 5 minutes we will keep on getting puzzles and we will try to solve them one by one using our methods which we have discussed before. Do note that if 3 positions are wrong, then the puzzles will stop automatically, and maximum time allotted for this is 5 minutes. So we will try to use the steps of forcing moves, that is check, capture, attack, while doing these puzzles. Let's get started now. You have to click the play button and then the positions will keep on coming up, and I will try to explain how we can do the puzzles. See, this is a new account, so there is no top score over here. Okay, so let's get started. So it's going to start now. It's our move. We are black here. White has played the move. Let's look at the check. This rook cannot give check. The other rook can check from c1. Rook has to come, takes and checkmate. Let's look at this position here. Queen cannot give check. Rook e8 cannot give check. The d1 rook can give check, forcing the rook on f1. Two attacks near the king, bishop and the rook. So rook f1 checkmate. Again we can see that only this rook can give check. It's a back rank mate. Queen can give check from f5, but it will be taken. So here we have to take the queen for free. We cannot take on f2 because there are more supports. Knight check, king just moves to h1. Again we see the black queen. Black is about to give check from f2 square. Number of attacks on f2 are 2. We are trying to see squares near the king. Do note that at first. And now queen takes the rook, checkmate. Again we have the position here. We see queen can give check from d1, but the queen supports. We also see the rook d8 is attacking the rook on d3. Queen supports both, so the queen is overloaded. So rook takes rook, queen takes, and we get the rook for free here. We can see the queen has check from d2, f4, g7 and h8 squares, out of which we see f4, e3 and d2 are controlled by bishop and knight. So queen h8 mates. This type of position we discussed recently. The rook is guarding the h file already and knight gives check from e2. So it's a checkmate. It's a typical king and pawn endgame position. King has to approach the pawn on a3. So king c4, king b3, king takes pawn, and after kb2 we see the a pawn promotes to queen. Queen can give check from many places. What we see, the surrounding squares near the king. Around the surrounding squares we see that only on b5 we have 2 attacks, pawn and queen. So qb5 mates. Similarly here also on b1 and b2 we have 2 attacks, but b1 is guarded by knight. So qb2 checkmates. Again we see this position. On g5 square we have 2 attacks, pawn and the rook. So rook gives check, king h6 and bishop check from g7, where we had 2 attacks. Let's look at the queen here. Queen can give check from d2, c1 and g1 squares. e2 is guarded by the knight, g1 is supported by the rook. So queen c1 checkmate. Let's look at this position. King on d8, surrounding squares are e8, d7, c8, where queen and bishop both can attack. So c8 is where we have more attacks. Similarly here queen and rook both attack d7 and d8, which are near the king. So q d7 check, where we had more attacks, and now d8 square, where we have more attacks. Queen d8, rook d8 and rook d8. See, it's a back rank mate, so we can execute there. Now again we see this position. Only check available is q d4 check. So these positions are training us for seeing the checks, and see queen check, and it would have been a mate next move. Similar position here. Bishop can take the bishop, queen can take and rook can take it. Bishop a3 check allows the pawn to come to c5. So we get a piece here on e5. rook takes, we take his queen, rook takes, and white is piece up. See, the queen is giving check to the black king here. Okay, so king has to go to such a place where more checks are not possible. Okay, and we are trying to avoid the checks. King b6, check, and the king will try to hide away from the checks. So king will try to escape. Let's look at this position. The queen has many checks. Queen e6 check, but rook attacks. Queen h1 check. Okay, which will force the king to come out. And now we can use again check from the white squares. And we note that the rook and the king come on the white squares. Queen check and the rook is taken. This is the position. See, two attacks on g2 square. So rook g2 checkmate. Similar is this one. Rook and the queen, rook and the bishop both can attack the square on d3. So we can move the knight with a discovered attack. So see, if we do knight c3, bishop c3, d3 gets supported. So playing knight c3 is not possible. Perhaps we can do knight b4 or knight f4. Knight f4 allows bf4. So see, now the time is over when we were solving the position. So what we can do is, after the positions are solved, we can check this one is not over. We can click there and we can check what would have been the solution. By clicking the right button here, we will come to know after bd3, see bd3, queen d3, and the knight would have moved with a discovered attack. Rook attacks the queen, knight attacks the rook, and next move rook is taking the queen. So this is how the positions which go wrong, we can check them by clicking there. I hope this will serve very useful purpose. We can improve our game and try to apply same things in our own games. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do comment below if you are finding it useful. Thanks for your time.